It's time for Maggie and the Moms. Sponsored by Tampa General Hospital.
You found us. Welcome, everyone. I'm your host, Maggie Rodriguez, along with executive producer, Deanna Moore. Hello, Deanna.
Hello. Hi, Maggie.
So good to be here, and we're so happy that you're all here for the Maggie and the Moms podcast, where our mission is, as our motto states, to celebrate but never sugarcoat parenting. And Deanna, you and I have been doing Maggie and the Moms on our TV show here in Tampa, daytime. Yeah. But I'm so happy that we have this space now, because so many times on the TV segment, it feels like, oh, we want to talk more.
There's
there's
not
enough time. So that eliminates that problem, and we can really, I guess, dig a little deeper, which I'm so excited to do.
Yeah. So I want to hear where this came from in your mind.
Well, I remember when you hired me to be the co-host of Daytime, you said to me, is there any segment, anything at all, any topic that is a passion of yours that you would like to do regularly?
Yeah, I wanted a franchise for you. I wanted something that was yours to own every single week.
And without hesitation, I said, had the name ready, Maggie and the Moms.
It was like right off the top of the dome.
Because it had been percolating for a long time, because I had done TV for 20 years. And I had done mommy life exclusively for 10 years as a stay-at-home mom. And I thought, those are my two areas of expertise. Those are my two passions. And what a great way to merge both of them, to be back on TV and get to talk parenting. Yeah. I thought, thank you for giving me the opportunity. And boy, it hit the ground running, and it's been such a success.
Yeah, and I know that there are a lot of mom podcasts out there, but I think what this podcast does, what's different about this podcast is you, Maggie, because
thank
you came from this world at the CBS early morning show, at the top of your game, and you said, I want to be a mom. I want to be a stay-at-home mom. And so you know the best of both of those worlds. And I want to hear how you decided to make that decision, going from being at the very top of your game to now here.
And I talk about this in the first episode of the podcast. I remember that I was pregnant with my second child, Mikey, who is now 14. And I had an epiphany. I was visiting family in Miami, driving with my husband in the car. And I said to him, would it be so crazy if I walked away from it all and just stayed home with the kids? And he looks at me and he goes, I don't think it would be crazy. I think it would be amazing, but that's your decision. Why are you thinking that? Because here I was doing all these amazing things, covering conventions and presidential elections and interviewing celebrities. And I was going to walk away from it all. And he says, why? And I said, honestly, I feel like I've been cheating Daniela, our daughter, our only, our only child at the moment, because, oh gosh, I'm so sorry.
No, don't apologize. This is how you're feeling.
I remember feeling in that moment like that the nanny who lived with us had raised her instead of me. The nanny saw her first steps. The nanny took her to play dates. The nanny, when I retired, she said to me, so are you going to be my nanny now? She thought nanny meant mom. And I remember saying, that's not fair and that's not right. And I couldn't figure out, which made me feel like a failure. I couldn't figure out, because I know some women do, how to do both successfully. I couldn't figure out how to have this life at the top and be the kind of mother that I wanted to be, and that I think my daughter deserved and my soon-to-be-born son deserved. And so, as it happened, when I came back from my maternity leave, already with that seed in my head, they said, we're going to be replacing the morning team. But don't worry, Maggie, because you'll still, we want you to host the CBS Evening News Weekend Edition, because I was a fill-in on the weekdays. So they said you can do that, and you can still be a correspondent for 48 hours and for 60 minutes. And in that moment, when they said that to me, I said, no, thank you. And they're like, what? Because I was thinking, you're telling me that I, who was already thinking of leaving, am going to stay to be on a plane most days of the week and to work weekends, which would mean even less time with my family. I want no part of it. It was such an easy decision at that moment. I said to them, can I leave today? When they said, yeah, you want to think about it? I said, I don't need to think about it.
Wow, Maggie, that's amazing to me, because there are so many people who they climbed to the top. They work so hard, and you work so hard. You traveled from city to city, and you made the decision that was best for you, for your family, for your husband, and most importantly, your children. And I commend that.
Thank you, Deanna. It wasn't easy. I'll tell you, though. I thought it was going to be like, because I remember the very next day, it was the first morning that I got to take my daughter to school. It was snowing in New York City. I dropped her off, and I decided to walk back in the snow, and I felt like $1,000,000. I felt like this is the life I have been waiting for. I am so lucky. I got to do it all career-wise, and now I get to do this. I never felt, that day I didn't feel like, oh, I have to do this. I felt like I get to do this. But over the years, there were so many moments, Deanna, when I was like, I'm just a mom. I used to get like emails from high-profile people, and now I'm getting Target emails.
Just as important, though. You know what I mean?
I didn't think so. I felt like a complete, like I got to the point where I was like, oh my God, have I made a mistake? Because I could be doing so much more, and I'm just doing this. And so I'm not going to sugarcoat it and say it was easy once I left my job and became a full-time mom. I was every day happy that I made that decision. There were tough days. And when a big news story was happening, I was chomping at the bit. I was like, oh, you know.
Wait, you're not telling me that talking to heads of state is not the same as talking to your 3-year-old toddler?
It's so funny that you say that, because Mike comes home one day when Mikey, our son, was a newborn, and he comes home from work and he says, I'll never forget, your hair was like a disaster. You were in sweatpants and you were holding that child and you were crying, literally crying. And he goes, what's wrong? And I said, I can't do this. And he says, so you can interview the president of the United States and be cool as a cucumber, but you can't handle Mikey, which is still the case. I'm kidding, Mikey. I love you. And I'm like, it was much harder. I could do that all day because I could prepare for that. And I knew I was ready. I couldn't prepare for motherhood. I mean, don't you ever feel like there's no manual?
That is the crux of what this podcast is about, that we are all going through it. It doesn't matter what level you're at. It doesn't matter, if you're a new mom, if you're a mom who's been parenting for 18 years, we all have those moments where we just burst into tears. Name me a mom who that's happened to all of us.
It's happened to all of us.
But cut to you taking the job with Daytime and coming up with Maggie and the Moms. What's your goal?
Okay, so my goal is I want it to be primarily about motherhood, because, and you said that I'm the secret to why it works, but I disagree. What I think is the secret is the group of moms that I assemble, because I am very intentional about having moms on the panel, and that's how it'll be. It'll be a rotating panel of moms who are in different stages of parenting, and who have different perspectives and who have different opinions. And we all learn so much from each other. And so that, I think, is an important component. Of course, I still want to have the experts, because I want to use my interview skills and have parenting experts. But that's what I want it to be. So I want all of us talking about the highs and lows of motherhood. I want us talking about everything that our children are going through. Like, is your kid going through this? How did you handle it? And I want it to be about the stuff that's important to us just as women, because I'm not only a mom, I'm still Maggie the woman, and I feel like you don't have to lose your identity when you become a mom. And so I want to incorporate that into the podcast as well.
I think that so many women, especially, but I mean parents, we think that we're going through things alone. And if you could hear what other moms are going through on a daily basis, and we're all in the same boat.
So true.
My favorite parts of Maggie and the Moms are when we get moms together who have common ground. We've had moms that are special needs moms, and they can tell you things that they went through that can help. These new moms who may have had a recent diagnosis or something happened to them. We recently had, which was one of my favorites, we had Maggie y las Mamás, because you are Cuban American, and we had some other Latina Hispanic moms on.
And it does influence how you parent, because everything that you've experienced in your life influences who you are.
Absolutely. And I'm ready for the Black moms.
All right, let's do it. Let's do it. Well, I'm just excited, and I'm so happy that you're next to me for this.
Always.
Because you have been since day one, and so supportive. And it's because you are a mom. You get it.
Yes.
And that's why I'm so happy that I have found my Instagram bio says it perfectly. From full-time journalist to full-time mom to the sweet spot somewhere in the middle. That's what I have found here because I get to be there for my kids, pick them up at school, be there in the morning. I get to come to work, do a job I love that gives me a platform to talk about the things I'm passionate about. The all-elusive balance, I found it.
You can have it all, I think. But, it is a balance.
It is a balance.
Yeah. Thank you, Maggie.
Thank you, Deanna. And thank you all. We hope that you will come along for the ride and be part of the Maggie and the Moms family.
That's right. You can find us on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, YouTube, Facebook Live, and especially WFLA Now because we love our WFLA family.
And on TV, watch us on daytime here in Tampa. It airs on News Channel 8 WFLA every weekday at 10 a.m.
Bye.